Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 82 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. What's up everybody? How's it going today? Hope you're doing well because we've got some cool stuff going on. I have decided that I would like to start working on a new mod. A mod that we haven't touched yet in this series, obviously. But calling it a new mod is probably as much of a lie as you can get because technically this is one of the oldest mods in existence. We today are going to take a look at Industrial Craft. Now, I know there's a handful of people out there that don't love Industrial Craft, and I don't understand why, because it is a really cool and fun mod. It's a little bit more challenging than some of the other mods, but it's also a lot more fun, and it's also a pretty powerful mod as well in its own right. So because I enjoy playing with it, I want to do it. Also, those of you who out there who may not be familiar with Industrial Craft, now's a great time to learn it. So we're going to take a look at some of the basics of Industrial Craft. Now, clearly, I'm pretty far along in the tech tree, but Industrial Craft has things like macerators and furnaces and all the same standard stuff that we've got, courtesy of like thermal expansion and IO. Like, there's many machines that are duplicated among all these mods, right? Industrial Craft has a furnace machine that can basically smelt ores and smelt ingots and smelt bricks and all that kind of good stuff, right? But clearly, there's, you know, a bunch of other cool stuff it can do, and we're going to be taking a look at that. It also has a furnace that, if memory serves me correctly, can be really fast. And I'm going to try and see if I can get like how fast I can make that furnace. There's a couple furnace options I have here, and one of the things I'm going to work towards is maybe replacing our alloy smeltery, which, for all intents and purposes, is kind of slow at this point, right? I mean, I've frequently been saying, man, I wish I could speed this up. So let's see, you know, how fast we can make things if we really go crazy and don't care about power. Does that sound like a plan? And we're going to have some fun automating Industrial Craft. So one of the first things we're going to get started with is getting some basic machines up and running. And you may have even noticed that I've got a building over here that's brand new. Yeah, that's right. I built out a new building. This is going to be my Industrial Craft location. One other thing I'm going to want to do is probably get access to some stuff over here. So I might even make a new wireless access point. Is it called wireless access point? Yeah, no, that's the ME wireless access point. Wireless transmitter, that's what we're talking about. So we're going to want an advanced processor and a machine casing. So we're going to want one of you and one of you. And did I put range upgrades in this doohickey yet? Probably not. So that is upgrades with redstone and ender pearl. So we're going to want 4 of those. So let's get 4 standard upgrades. Start that process. And then we're going to want some quartz enriched iron, which looks like you're still working on. We've got a bit now. Did we get our machine casing? So let's get our wireless doohickey set up out there. We're going to want access to our ME system while we're in the Industrial Craft area. Part of me is saying, like, maybe I should, like, build out an Industrial Craft access or a refined storage system everywhere, but we'll see. So that's the wireless transmitter. We've got our 4 upgrades, 1, 2, 3, 4, which we're going to need ender pearls and redstone for. So we'll let this guy cook up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm also going to grab some cables. And basically what I'm going to do is just run cable from the Draconic Evolution building. So let's do our range upgrades here. Whoops. I always forget that they don't stack. So we have right here access to stuff, right? Let's get a torch. Right. Neat. All right, so wow, we're like really close here to the ground. There's my connection to my refined storage system. Can I reach over there? So close. There we go. We can just kind of run this along this neat little underground tunnel here. and eventually into here, which will give me access to our refined storage system. Cool. And we'll stick the wireless access point here. We'll give it its range upgrades. And now I should have remote access to things from all the way out here. This will just extend the range of my wireless access, right? And that should be cool. And we'll clean up the floor in a minute here. Let's come back in a second when I'm ready for the next stage of this build. So generators is a thing we're going to need. Industrial craft generators. Now, industrial craft has its own power system called EU, or energy units. EU is different from RF. There's actually a lot of differences. You can use, I believe, immersive engineering cables to convert from RF to EU, but I personally like to be a little bit of an industrial craft purist. So when I'm going to do industrial craft stuff, I'm going to build EU generating machines. Like, sure, I could just tap into our existing RF stuff, but that would kind of be boring. I want you guys to see industrial craft in all its glory, so we're going to be playing with some of the RF generation potential. So basic tier stuff, power tier 1, generators, which just burn coal. That's the end of the day, right? Simple, straightforward. Geothermal generators, you guessed it, cook up lava. Now, in order to make this, we need some universal cells, which aren't too bad to make, so we could probably get a geothermal generator going. And iron item casings we can craft as well by hand. So that's definitely an option. And not a bad one either, because we've got pretty much unlimited lava that's hooked up to our refined storage system. So if we just create an export bus of lava, we'd be done, and we'd have plenty of geothermal power. That would be kind of cool. There's also kinetic generators, which require something to turn them, so you can put things like water mills and windmills on these. They're pretty neat. Then there's radioisotope generators. These things run off of uranium or plutonium. I think these are the plutonium ones. There's nuclear reactors, and there's all kinds of other generators that we'll probably get playing with in the future. Yeah, definitely. So, with that in mind, let's start off with geothermal. So in order to make this, we need generators. We need iron plates, and we need rechargeable batteries. And we need iron furnaces, right? Or we just need a basic machine casing and a rechargeable battery, one way or another. The thing with rechargeable batteries, though, is we need tin cables that are insulated, and insulation is done via rubber, and in order to get rubber, we need to find sticky resin. Sticky resin is found in the world. So first we're going to need a tree tap. That's kind of like your first step. Now I've already made one, so I've probably covered resin somewhere. I think I was using it for stuff. And remember I said remind me that there's I see 2 trees back here somewhere. Yeah, well, here we go. We're getting into that stuff. So first thing I'll do is probably just tap this and get my sticky resin. But we're also going to probably want to grow our own little farm that's relatively close to our base, with the hopes of being able to have our own stuff. So let's get... Do I have anything that would help me out here? Like a sickle or something like that? That'll chop down stone sickle? Does that sound cool? These leaves pretty quickly. Nice, a couple of rubber tree saplings. They're not the most common sapling in the world. You'll usually get 1 to 2 per tree. But once you've got a handful, you've got enough at least to start getting things going. So we've got 6. That's probably plenty to start our own rubber tree farm. And we'll look at automating it as well. It's totally automatable. Nice. So we've got that stuff. We've got our tree tap. So we can tap these. So these resin spots, as a reminder, will regrow. You can tap multiple times. So if I tap this again, it'll destroy the resin spot. So be careful. So I just destroyed that resin spot. Now it's not going to regrow. And that's bad times. You want to let the resin regrow. So only tap it once and come back here a little bit later, and that resin spot will refill itself. So just over a period of time, it'll just, hey, I have more resin that you can tap out of me. Cool, right? So keep that in mind. Let's head home. And to turn this resin into rubber, there's a couple ways we can do it. Cool. We can either smelt it, and we get 1 rubber per resin. Okay. Or we can extract it, which gets us 3. Cool. So let's get started processing this. If we want to process it in an extractor, we're going to need power first. So I think what we'll do, we'll start off, our first attempt will be to get IC2 power going via geothermal generator. Then we'll get an extractor running so we can extract our resin. We'll also set up a tree farm and we'll go from there. So first things first, geothermal generators. Dun, dun, dun. In order to make this, we're going to need the generator, like we said. So we're going to need to cook up. I'm going to throw, let's say for now, let's get like 4 resin cooked up into rubber. Does that sound cool? I may or may not even have some rubber in here. Nope. But we've got the 4 that we just made, so that's cool. We'll make our geothermal generator. So for that, we're going to need basic machine casings. Okay, basic machine casings are made with iron plates. We can either craft them with immersive engineering, thermal foundation, or IC2. The IC2 plates are made by using a forge hammer and iron to hammer it out. Later on, there's a machine that will automate this for us, but we don't have that machine yet, so we're gonna go this route. Cool. So we're gonna get all these guys. I'm gonna get like, let's just get a stack of iron plates. Does that sound cool? And that should be good. We're gonna hang on to our forge hammer because we're probably gonna need it in a second. We're definitely gonna need it for some tin. So let's turn as many tin plates into, or as much tin into tin plates as we can for now. That looks good. So geothermal generator, we can get ourselves, let's get 1 of them for now, and then we'll expand later on down the line. The other thing we're gonna need is iron item casings, which you get 2 of them from hammering a single plate. So we're gonna need another hammer and a plate, and that'll get us our 2 item casings. Cool. And then the last thing we need is universal empty cells. We need 4 tin and a glass pane. So we're gonna need 4 tin and a glass pane. We're actually gonna need 2 sets of those. Nice. And then this guy's set up, the last thing we're gonna have to set up is a rechargeable battery. So we're gonna need a few more item casings from our hammer. And we're going to need to get ourselves a tin cable, which is taking a tin plate and cutting it with this cutter tool. Cool. And that'll get us 3 tin cables. Neat. So the cutter tool and the hammer are kind of the manual way to craft some of your components from Industrial Craft. And now that we've got the basics here, we can go ahead and make ourselves a rechargeable battery. Thought I had enough of these, but I must not have. Cool. Rubber plus this makes your insulated tin cable. And now we've got a battery. So we can make ourselves a generator. Sweet. And we can upgrade that guy straight up to a geothermal generator. Awesome. Now we're going to grab ourselves an exporter so we can export liquids. Going to want our lava bucket. And that's that. We have some cables. Sweet. This thing has its own little internal power supply, but we'll probably want a battery of some kind. We'll get to that, though. So we'll start off with the geothermal generator power generation part can probably be in something of a basement. Does that sound cool? This is going to be a rough basement for the time being, but I will quickly turn this into a proper basement. Quickly may not be the right word, but we'll probably want to expand this basement, especially if we get into nuclear power, because that's the really fun stuff. Having a nuclear reactor is like a fun thing to build. Trust me, it really is kind of cool. So with that in mind, we'll probably get there eventually. But for now, let's just throw a geothermal generator down here in the basement, and then we'll get doing more with it later. So cables. Probably want our cables to be more on the floor here. Exporter. Fluid mode. Lava bucket. You should be filling up with lava now. And you can hear it generating power. And it has its own little internal buffer, like I said. So we'll eventually have like a battery. That's going to chill here, but we'll see. I decided to make my life a little bit easier here and go ahead and get a crafting table. Or crafting grid. Sweet. That'll be way easier for me. So now, instead of having to run back and forth in this room, I can just do. Nifty. I'll get a cover for that in a minute. So with that in place, hooray, we can make ourselves an extractor now. What I'm thinking I'll probably wind up doing is having like a line of machines here, all the different machines that we need, with probably a generator right, or energy storage right here. Now I'll probably want to run some cabling up the wall into the side of the generator, or the storage capacitor, the battery thingy, which, let's see, let's sync you JEI synchronized. So Industrial Craft has a few battery options, as I recall. There's the charge pad, which is, these are charge pads. We don't want charge pads. We just want bat box. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. Those are the 4 different tiers of power. Just like in refined storage, or in RF-based stuff, right? So you've got different tiers of wires. You've got different tiers of power storage. The difference with Industrial Craft is different power tiers affect machines differently. So for example, the extractor, for example here, let's find it. That's a tier 1 machine. It can only accept tier 1 power. If you give it tier 2, 3, or 4 power, that's too much power for the machine to handle, and it's going to explode. So we're going to have to mitigate that. So let's start off with a bat box, which will just be like a nice little basic amount of power storage, which isn't too bad, honestly. That's the charge pad version. This is the version that we want. So let's get ourselves this guy. Our bat box is going to require a few batteries. So let's do this. We're going to need let's get our extractor first. How's that sound? So that's just, so we're going to need a few more pieces of rubber cooked up. And that's going to be smelted, so we do have to go home for that. So we need, in total, 6 pieces of rubber smelted. Most machines require a circuit, by the way. So be prepared to make these. And we'll probably, once we get some automation in place, teach it how to make all these things. Cool. So copper cable is needed for this circuit. So we're going to get ourselves a couple of those. Not a big deal. Just get a few plates. Let's get copper. We'll do about a stack of these as well. That sound fair? Boom. And we're going to need a lot of copper cabling eventually anyway. So let's get the cutter tool here. Get a bunch of that. Nice. Beautiful. And then we'll get our extractor ready to go. We just need 6 of you. You're set. A basic machine casing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Extractor's up and running. And we can get, how much more rubber do we have here? Not much. So let's just do this. Just to get things rolling for now, we're going to throw our extractor right on top of this guy. He's going to get powered. And then we can throw our sticky resin in there. The extractor is going to extract it out, and we're going to get 3 rubber per resin. And that's going to be much better, right? And this thing is nice because it only, ticks on as needed. So you can see it's kind of not going to waste lava, which is pretty cool. And we got our 3 resin from 3 rubber from 1 resin. So now let's go plant our trees. We're going to want, do I want to do this manually, or am I going to need enough rubber that we're going to want to automate this? Thinking for now, I want to chop that tree down. There's my big axe. Sorry, tree. I need to put other trees here. Sorry, bees. You're attacking me, and that's bad. See you later. Put that stuff away. Get our rubber saplings here. Probably don't need that stuff yet. I've got some of this. Good. So out back behind my industrial craft area is where I will build out my rubber tree farm. Let's get some bone meal. And you know what? I might actually want that scythe. Just get a stack of this stuff. or the sickle. Different mods call it different things. And maybe take a quick nap. Sound cool? Achievements for all the things. So rubber tree farm is pretty easy to set up. The way I like to do it, personally, and this is literally what I've been doing since 1.2.5 of Minecraft, if not older. I think I played in 1.7.10, like alpha 1.7.10, right? Wasn't that it? There was a 1.7 version that was like alpha, and I'm pretty sure Industrial Craft existed back then. It's been a while. So, nice. 1 tick of bone meal grows you a lovely tree. And that got us 1 resin spot. So basically what you want to do is resin spots are random. So if you get one, cool. If you don't, chop down the tree and plant another one until you do. So I'm going to set these all up. Now here's an old trick. Wonder if the moving wand is going to work on these guys. Now can I rotate him in some way? Because that would be even better. Can't rotate him, but we can definitely pick up the tree pieces that have resin taps on them. And that would just be a little bit more efficient for us. So what we can do is just grab these. Now this was on the opposite side, right? So what if we placed this here? Right, let me get a proper axe to chop stuff down with. Good enough. Right, any other resin spots here that I'm missing? Oh, that was one. Not a big deal. Not a big deal, just Dyer being a derp. So what we can do then is move this guy onto here. Any more resin spots on these? Don't look like any up here. Any on the insides here? No, this one's pretty much done too. So this could be planted maybe like over here. This can be on this side. You used to be able to do this with like gravity gun and portal gun. But as mods have evolved, there's become more and more ways to do it. I don't like them to be too tall either, because I won't have to like fly to get to them. That looks pretty much good, right? So now if we wanted to, we could grow a couple more trees and kind of go from there and just have a good number of resin spots ready to tap as needed. So now we've got a bunch of resin spots that we can tap on demand. It would be cool if I could rotate them, but don't matter too much. It's good enough for now. Maybe we can make one more tree tap. You can make electric versions of these too, by the way. That can be recharged. And you can also automate these. Pro tip for those of you who want to get a lot of rubber. I don't know if we're going to need it, but these farming stations can totally accept tree taps. And what that means is if there's rubber trees nearby, it'll use those tree taps to extract the resin from the rubber trees and not chop them down. And like I said, the resin spots regrow over a period of time. Nice. You can also extract the rubber wood itself, and you get 1 piece of rubber per rubber wood, but honestly, with the amount of sticky resin we're going to have here, it's not necessary. But that's pretty cool. So now we've got a bunch of rubber, or at least we will soon. See? And we'll let that start cooking. The other thing we're going to want is a wrench from IC2, made with bronze. The only way, well, the best way to move these machines is with a wrench. You're just gonna want to do it that way. Trust me. Now we could make an electric wrench if we wanted to, but that requires a few more parts. Doesn't look that bad though. I did make a bunch of these, right? Yeah. Let's try and make the electric wrench. I don't know if I can charge it yet, but we will try. So 2 of you for the electric wrench. Set up one of these. There's your motor. And a lot of this can be automated with crafting and whatnot. So don't be afraid to give that a try. At some point, we will totally teach the system how to make all the things. But for now, there's a lot of manual steps. But we'll get there soon, don't worry. All right, so the last thing we need is that, and now we should be good. Nice. So we can actually make this. The question is, can we power it? I don't know if we can charge it in here or not. Oh, good, we can. Beautiful. Nice. One check to look at is your industrial craft item change mode. Mode switch key is set to a semicolon. So the way this works is certain items, let's see, I thought it was set. Maybe the industrial craft wrench doesn't have an item switch anymore. We'll see. I thought there was lossless mode, but I think all the electric wrenches are lossless now. Meaning, so you need a wrench to pick up your machines. If you don't use a wrench to pick up your machines, instead of getting the machine back, you'll get the basic machine casing back. So you'll get whatever it was called. This thing, basic machine casing. If you use like a wrench, or if you use the wrong tool. But using this wrench, you're good to go. So we can probably snag this guy now. So we'll do that. Right click to pick him up. Beautiful. Let's get him set up on the line. So let's imagine that we were gonna have like a furnace and a macerator. This could be our extractor right here. And we'll just pop that dude down right over there like that. Let's get our bat box going so that we can at least start this process. One more set of this should be good. And then we're gonna want 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. Cool. 1, 2, 3, and then the bat box. Nice. We're good to go. So the bat boxes and all of the IC2 stuff has one side that has a little dot on it. That's your power output side. So bat boxes can input from any side and output to one side. You can right click with the wrench to rotate it, and whichever side you right click on is the side that will be the output side. You can also shift right click, and that will rotate it so that the output is on the opposite side that you shift right click from. So if I shift right click on this side, it'll be outputting from this side. Right click on the side with the power output to pick up the block. So basically the way I want to run this is to have it here with the power output on this guy, and then we're going to want some cabling. We can use tin cables. So this outputs, as you can see here, 32 EU per tick. That's tier 1 according to the power tier. Extractors are also tier 1, so they can accept 32 power per tick. The cabling for that is the tin cable. That's your tier 1 power cable. So we're going to want probably a few of these. Probably a few more, to be fair. Now, geothermals, I want to say produce 10 RF per tick, or 10 EU per tick. So we should be able to run, and they output from all sides, like that. And then they're going to start getting power on here, right? Now, if we want to make sure, we want to run power pretty much out of the bat box into the machines, but we don't want to let our cables connect here. To do that, we're going to need paintbrushes. Cool. Paintbrushes let you separate things out. So industrial craft painters are pretty easy to make. 1, 2. I'm going to make one that's, say, red, and one that's, let's say, yellow, or maybe green. Do we have any dandelions? We do. So we'll make a yellow one. So basically the way it works is painted cables can connect to unpainted cables and colors of the same color. So if you have two cables next to each other that are not the same color, they won't connect. So see how this red one's connecting to the unpainted colors? If it's the same color, so for example that one, it's allowed to connect, but if it were a different color, it wouldn't be allowed to connect. Pretty cool. So by doing this, we can ensure that we don't have any connection of cabling. Now, all the power we generate will go into the bat box, and the bat box will send power into the extractor. And now we can start extracting stuff again. Sweet. And that, guys, is the very basics of an industrial craft setup. So what we're going to do is wrap up the episode here. We'll come back next time. We'll make some more machines, and we'll start automating some of this. So I'd like to, probably the next one I'm going to want to get is the metal former. This will allow me to make both plates, and it'll also allow me to make, where is it? Copper wire, there we go. Copper cable. The metal former can also make copper cable. Cool. You can just stick a copper ingot in there and get 3 copper cables. Pretty awesome. So those machines will probably be the next thing we work on, as well as a few other machines. And then we're going to start building some automation in this room and a bunch of other good stuff. But for now, it's the old wrapping up point. So Darryl20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the introduction to industrial craft. Brand new mod to the series, but definitely not a brand new mod to Minecraft, because like I said, it's one of the oldest mods in existence. It's probably one of the first. I think Buildcraft and Industrial Craft were the very 2 first mods that I started playing with, which is kind of cool if you think about it, way back in the day. Seriously, like go to like some of like the oldest videos on my channel, and you'll see an Industrial Craft Buildcraft spotlight. That's from a million years ago, and I did not know how to speak into a microphone back then, so if you want some chuckles, it's really entertaining. All right, guys, Darryl20 signing off. Take it easy.